Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Wednesday wake-up call. This morning, my partner that I usually do this with, Chris Smith, he is at a ministry youth camp. I think he's been there since Sunday, and he'll get home late this afternoon. So you got me for today, but I'm always excited to be here with you. And we are doing the book, 100 Ways to Motivate Yourself and Change Your Life by Steve Chandler. And it's a great book. This is about the third time I've went through it. But this is something I always think, you get something out of it every time you go through it. And I remember this chapter from before. We're on chapter 15. It's called Light Your Lazy Dynamite. And he says, Henry Ford used to point out to his colleagues that there wasn't any job that couldn't be handled if they were willing to break it down into little pieces. And when you've broken a job down, remember to allow yourself some slow motion in the beginning, the first piece. Just take it slow and easy, because it isn't important how fast you're doing it. What's important is that you are doing it. Most of our hardest jobs never seem to get done. The more thought of doing the whole job at a high energy level is frequently too off-putting to allow motivation to occur. But a good way to ease yourself into that motivation is to act as if you were the laziest person on the planet. And he says it wasn't much of an act for him. He says by accepting that, you're going to do your task in a slow and lazy way, and there's no anxiety or dread about getting it started. In fact, you can even have fun by entering it into it as if you were in a slow motion comedy, flowing into the work like a person made of water. But the paradox is that the slower you start something, the faster you will be finished. When you first think about doing something hard or overwhelming, you're most aware of how you don't want to do it at all. In other words, the mental picture you have of the activity of doing it fast and furiously is not a happy picture. So you think of ways to avoid doing the job altogether. And the thought of starting slowly is an easy thought. And doing it slowly allows you to actually start doing it. Therefore, it gets finished. Another thing that happens when you flow into a project slowly is that speed will overtake you without your forcing it, just as the natural rhythm inside you will get you in sync with what you're doing. You'll be surprised how soon your conscious mind stops forcing the action and your subconscious mind supplies you with easy energy. So take your time. Start out lazy. Soon your tasks will be keeping the slow but persistent rhythm of that hypnotic song on Paul McCartney's Red Rose Speedway album, Oh Lazy Dynamite. The dynamite is living inside of you. You don't have to be frenzied about setting it off. It lights just as well to a match struck slowly. And I thought this is really, good because, I can tend to be a procrastinator sometimes, but I thought, when I was reading this again, sometimes those tasks that just seem daunting. And, like for me, taxes. And it's like, when it comes tax time, it's like I always, file an extension. It's just because I hate it. But the crazy thing is, once I start in on it, it comes together, and I'm like, why did I procrastinate on this? It isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And it's like that with so many things we have to do. And they say it takes 21 days to make a habit. And if you just do something little, if you have like me, where I stay home and talk to people on the phone, and sometimes that phone, when you go to call a new prospect or a new person, it can feel like it weighs, like as much as an elephant to pick it up and actually dial that number. But if you just say, I'm going to dial 1 or 3 people today instead of, I got to get a hold of 100 people, just to slowly be able to do it. I used to follow this lady, Fly Lady, on Helping You Clean, and she talked about, just going through the house, and picking up one thing, to get rid of, out of each room, and how over time, over the course of, some time, everything would come together and it would look clean. And so it's just real important sometimes, when you feel overwhelmed, I want you just to think about it and break it down. When you're going for a goal, it's really, that's what I always do is if I've got a goal, I break it down into small pieces, and it really helps to get a hold of it and the emotions that go with it in your head, because that's really what it is. It's the emotions in our head that gets to us. So if you have just make a plan and break it down into bite-sized pieces, then it becomes easier and for you to be able to do it. And you don't have all the pressures, that you do and everything. But the point is that you just get started, just get started, do something, and enjoy the journey. Because, I've heard it said many times, if you're not having fun, you're not doing something right. So, I liked how he said, go in slow motion, like your body made of water, you're part of a comedy, just, it doesn't have, and what you do doesn't have to be perfect. It just, if you get started, it will make a big difference. So I encourage you, just to, whatever your goals are, to break them down in bite-sized pieces and then just go tackle it and track yourself, go look at the end of 21 days where you are. Go look at the end of 3 months where you are with that goal and, just doing something consistent and getting started. So that's what I have for you today. I'm going to go open the lines up and say goodbye.
Great job.